Yo ho ho, Dom Mafia, welcome to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And I know exactly what you're thinking. You're like, holy Dan, you're standing. What a curveball, right? Well, little do you know, I invested in a stand-up desk for your enjoyment. I feel like it just gives better energy, especially once I'm starting to get these pregame videos going down. Just to give you an idea, this can either escalate or it can de-escalate, okay? So say, for example, that I wanted to film this entire video from the standpoint of my I could 1000% do that. But that is exclusively for my OnlyFans, so let's go on ahead and just dive into the specifics here. You read the title of that video correctly. And yes, we all know that the Buffalo Bills' first preseason game against the Detroit Lions is about to be kicking off on Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and this is going to be my wish list. We all know that Josh Allen is not going to be starting, Stephon Diggs is definitely not going to be starting, and I guarantee you a bunch of our number one in the depth chart in just about every single position is going to see limited to 0 snaps. But regardless, I feel like this is still going to give us a tremendous opportunity to see a lot of these players that are second, third, or even fourth in the depth chart currently to prove and solidify why they need to be on this team. There's no announcements for this video except for, of course, smashing the out of that like button. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these. And so first off, I would say my first wish list, my first item on the wish list rather, is really going to see how this offensive line is going to play out against the Detroit Lions. Now keep in mind, with every single facet of my wish list today, do keep in mind for at least the first quarter, we are going to be seeing the Lions starters on both the offense and the defense. So starting off with the offensive line, there is this one competition that has been ravishing through camp, and that is going to be between Jon Feliciano and Ike Bodiger. Now, don't get me wrong, both of these guys are going to make this team. They're going to make the final 53-man roster. So right now, the Buffalo Bills are really trying to find the perfect combination for Josh Allen to enter into week one. Now, if there's anything that we should be thankful for during this first preseason game, this is obviously going to be a mix and match, throwing as many different combinations from an offensive line perspective as possible. And there's no way that we should risk our $150 million guaranteed quarterback with a mix match line from that perspective. I'm very excited to see whether or not Feliciano or Ike Bodiger is going to lock in that one spot as far as any type of competition is concerned on the offensive line. So best believe I am going to be keeping close attention to that. Second thing that I am going to be paying close attention to is Dane Jackson. And so there's no question that before training camp even started, there was a huge debate of whether or not that Dane Jackson could potentially take over the starting position from Levi Wallace as our CB2. Since there's been about 11 to 12 practices so far in training camp, it sounds like Levi Wallace, for the most part, has essentially locked down that position due to the inconsistency that Dane Jackson has been able to put out there during training camp. I'm watching Dane Jackson not because I think that he could take over Levi Wallace's position. I'm watching Dane Jackson to see if he can even make this team, okay? There has been concerns that the Buffalo Bills aren't even worried about can he start, they're worried about can he back up our top two cornerbacks in Trey White or Levi Wallace on the outside. So depending on whether or not that Dane Jackson can go out to this game and flash and prove that he can easily be a depth position and be an outside cornerback for this team is going to be something to keep a very close eye on. Because if this guy absolutely blows during preseason week 1 and preseason week 2, then we have a huge need of going out and finding some suitable cornerback depth. That's the second thing to watch out for. Number 3, our defensive line. Okay, listen, there is no question that the Buffalo Bills ended up investing a lot of draft picks and a lot of free agent dollars trying to ramp up our defensive line as much as possible. So when I look at it from this perspective with week 1 in the preseason, I really want to see Rousseau and Basham get their reps. I also want to see F.A. Obata get his reps, a defensive end who has been the story of the preseason who has absolutely been lighting it up. But at the end of the day, if you don't have pads on, I don't want to hear it. This is going to be his first test. This is going to be our rookie's first test. And like I said previously, we are going to be going up against the Lions starters during at least the first quarter. So we are really going to be able to see a preview of what we can expect from our rookies and also from F.A. Obata and anybody that is fighting for a position on our defensive line at this point. I am hoping, I am praying that I can see a single sack from one of our rookies so I can finally come to peace with the fact that we ended up going with two players that play the exact same position in the first 2 rounds of the draft. This is the ultimate test for our defensive line to see if we have been able to address our pass rush issues. Let's go on ahead and see how that plays out. So next is going to be our running backs. If they continue with the theme of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs not starting, I can almost guarantee you that Devin Singletary will not take a single snap during this game. Zach Moss is dealing with an injury from what I understand, so I think that there's slim to zero chances that he is going to be out there. So I have a feeling that this is going to be a Matt Breida and an Antonio Williams show. I am very, very excited to see both of them take snaps, see what they can do against a first-string Lions defense, see whether or not that our investments do pay off. Now, I did make a video a couple of months ago saying that I think that Breida is going to be our number 1 running back. I really want him to put this on display. I am going to be watching both of these running backs, Breida, and so I have so much confidence in him, obviously, and then Antonio Williams, because I want to see if this guy can potentially squeak onto the roster somehow, since he's been such a fan favorite since he absolutely wiped his ass with the Miami Dolphins last year in 2020. That will be another thing that I will be keeping a careful eye on. Last but not least, we all know that Josh Allen will not be starting. He will not be taking a single snap. And as mentioned previously, I am completely fine with that, especially since we're going to be experimenting with a bunch of different combinations from the offensive line perspective. Let's go on ahead and protect our investment because we just paid this fool a ton of money. It's going to be the Mitch Trubisky show. Jake Fromm as well. Honestly, as much as I love Jake Fromm, I felt bad that he was essentially put inside a room during COVID, didn't talk to anybody for a while. He's not going to make this team. We all know that Mitch Trubisky is going to be our backup quarterback. And what I want to see from Mitch Trubisky is just some sense of security. I want to see him have a very good game because, like I said, if God forbid Josh Allen were to ever go down for a couple of weeks this season, I want to know that we made the right decision of bringing in Trubisky so he can serve as insurance until our QB1 gets better. All I want to see is Mitch Trubisky be able to go on ahead and make good decisions. And so with the limited playmakers that he has on that field and say that he can go out and play average, I am going to be a happy camper. Dom Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. Do me a favor, leave a comment. What are you going to be looking for during that first preseason game? I'm always interested to hear your thoughts on that. Do keep in mind I am going to be live streaming my game time reaction to this game, so definitely be sure to tune in at 7 p.m. EST on my channel if you want to watch the game along with me. Always a damn good time. Thank you for tuning in, Dom Mafia, and before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.